Please welcome the incredible Marina Middleton.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. I feel like we've been working to get this on the books for a while. And so I'm so excited that we made it happen.
We did. I think you came introduced by Jackie Service, if I recall,
Oh, we
because
love Jackie.
were you on her show or like how did that start?
Yeah, yes, I was on her show. We met 3 years ago. I think she was a speaker at a mastermind I was part of.
Cool.
Um, and we've just stayed connected since. She's the best.
Yeah,
Sweetest.
she's awesome. She's a close friend. Yeah, I love her. She's one of those people that just like instantly makes you happy. You
No,
can't not be
100%.
happy around her.
Yeah. She's just she's a very great, loyal person. Love it.
Yeah. Shout out to Jackie. We all need those Jackies. But today we get to talk about so many awesome, amazing things. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, kind of where you're at today with Create and Cultivate? Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So I'm the CEO of Create Cultivate. I bought the business back in December 2023. So about a year and a half or so since then, which has been amazing. And we are growing at a very rapid rate. If you're not familiar with Create Cultivate, it's the largest events and media company for women. And we focus on large scale conferences. That's really what we're best known for. We have a festival that's coming out. We do smaller retreats, and all focused on advancing women in their career.
Amazing. And you have a podcast as well.
Yep. Yeah. So we have the Work Party podcast that I do with Jacqueline Johnson and myself. And we have so much fun with that. It is hilarious. It's just, yeah, she's done it for a really long time on her own. She had a book surrounding Work Party. And so this new iteration of Work Party is fun because it's literally two girlfriends building their lives. I'm a mom and married, and she's single living in New York. And so it's just a really beautiful way to see two different types of lives and like how we grow. It's really cool.
That is almost like the plot for a movie.
Yeah. No, truly. I'm like,
Yeah.
we need a work party movie for
You guys
sure.
can live vicariously through each other. Okay, so how did you guys meet? And how did this, okay, because if my memory serves me, she sold the business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So tell us how this all transpired.
Yeah, so I was working at Yahoo, and then transitioned to Yahoo News and Tumblr, and I was in the corporate world, had no really intention of leaving, and I ended up getting laid off from Yahoo News December 2019. Yeah, December 2019, which was such a blessing and a curse, mainly because I never wanted to leave corporate. Like I just like loved my corporate job. I loved working at Yahoo. It was really amazing. So I was like really down and out. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to go out on my own. Like this is the time. And so I went out on my own. I created my own consultancy, grew that year over year, and really like felt amazing. Had no intention of buying a company or doing any of that. But I ended up Googling, women conferences and women empowerment conferences and communities to see what existed, and Create and Cultivate was there. So I ended up going to one of my events, and I've gone to conferences and events my whole life. One of the things that come out of corporate is like they put you in those rooms and they facilitate those intros for you and pay for your ticket to attend and all that stuff. And so, when I became an entrepreneur, I was like, where do people meet? Like, where is everybody? This is so much harder and very lonely. So I ended up finding Create and Cultivate, literally stumbled upon it. I went to my first New York event, and I had never seen an event like that. Like a lot of people produce events, a lot of people do conferences, but there really isn't anything like a Create and Cultivate conference from a production, from the content. It's just actually crazy. And it's even crazier now being on the other side. And I'm like, oh, I get why it's this, like it's every detail we think through. But so went to it, saw Jacqueline speak, thought it was amazing. She had sold it to private equity, in 2021, for like $22 million, something amazing, that she has been able to accomplish, especially right after COVID. So it was perfect timing for her to exit. But she was still somewhat involved in the business. So I met her at some of the events, kept going to all of the events. And my goal was to speak at Create and Cultivate. So we had a mutual friend that connected me with the head of talent, kept pitching myself, eventually spoke, had Jacqueline on my podcast. and then slid into her DMs. And I was like, hey, I think we should start a mastermind together. Like, again, Create and Cultivate was never in the picture. And so her, Allie Webb, who's the founder of Dry Bar, and I started the Blueprint Mastermind. And it was amazing. And during that time, Jacqueline got a call from private equity and said, hey, like, we're probably going to do a secondary sale. And Jacqueline was like, I'd be interested to buy it. And so she called me. This was like 3 months after I met her, 4 months after I met her. And she was like, hey, I would only do this if you do this with me. Like,
Wow.
do you want to buy the company with me? And the caveat is that you'll operate it and be the CEO. And I'm like, absolutely. Like, it was obviously a no-brainer. Which is funny now because I'm a year and a half in and I'm like, I see why you didn't want to operate the business anymore. I'm like, this is so much work. I mean, we had different visions in the beginning of like what we wanted to create for Create and Cultivate. You know, option one was very attractive of like, let's just grow this brand and not raise money and just have this like profitable business and do some small events and build our community, build our personal brand. And then my idea of like, no, I want to raise money. I want to exit in 5 to 7 years. I want to build this massive festival. Two completely different paths. And I don't think one is better than the other. They're just like two different lifestyles. And so we chose option two. And here we are 10 weeks out from the world's largest festival.
That is awesome. And you guys have some pretty stellar people coming. The lineup is insane. Okay. So who are like the big names?
We have Doechii being our live performer. So she'll do a concert. We have Sierra speaking. We have, oh my God, so many. Paige Acerno. We have, I don't know.
Doechii's like the thing right now.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, her story is really like when we think of speakers, we think or like attendees or speakers, attendees, sponsors, like women that really embody us and like what a traditional person is in the sense of she had a regular job. She had a dream. She got laid off. She was like, okay, I'm going to go all in. She took a risk. She, built her name. She became Woman of the Year. Like it's like everything that we love to embody. It's like, oh, you got kicked while you were down. Everything was stacked up against you and you made it work. Like that to me is like what a woman is. And so I'm like, who better than Doechii? So yeah,
her song is in my head right now. I feel like dancing it. And I think of like Will Smith.
Yeah. No, she's amazing.
So back up a little bit because there's a lot about this. Like you skimmed over some of like the juicy stuff. Like these are incredible accomplishments. But first of all, how did you like get on Jacqueline's radar and become friends? Like, did you just cold say, hey, let's start a mastermind? Or were you guys already chatting?
Yeah, no, we weren't friends. I didn't have her number and I don't think I had her email. She followed me after I spoke at an event at one of her events. And then we had a mutual friend that like connected us via email to say, hey, like you should be on Marina's podcast. I had a podcast called She Did It Anyway at that time. She's like, you should be on Marina's podcast. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. And so had her on the podcast. That was the only time I'd ever spoken to her. And then I was driving one day and I had this idea. A lot of my ideas come from like an annoyance I have or a problem that I find. And so I like have these random ideas and I live in between the sweet spot of like fear or an idea and fear. So like I'll have an idea and if I mull on it, I will think of all the things that could go wrong. But if I just take action, 9 times out of 10, it works out. Right. And so I'm like, I had this crazy idea that, the mastermind space wasn't created. You had like the masterclass, which you could watch entrepreneurs, women and men that have exited for multi-million, billion dollars. Right. You then had the conferences that you could go and like hear from these executives and massive entrepreneurs. And then you had masterminds that were led by other entrepreneurs that had never like potentially exited their business or built something outside of their personal brand, right? I wanted to be in a mastermind with women like Jacqueline Johnson, who sold a events business for $22 million, or an Ally Web that has sold a product line for $255 million. Like I wanted to be in the room with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't exist. There was nothing like that. Nobody was doing it. I realized that I am a very good operator. I am good in terms of visionary and then execution. Like that's my strong power, is like I can get shit done. And so really my focus was, how do we bring this to life? And so I was driving one day and I was like, hey, I DM'd her on Instagram and I said, hey, I'm going to send this to you before I forget. Or no, I'm going to send this to you before I talk myself out of it.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about starting a mastermind? And she's like, yeah, why? What's up? Like, what are you thinking? And it's so funny because it's so on brand for her. Now that I know her, I was like, you're hilarious. And I was like, I sent her voice memos back of like, hey, here's what I've done. I've created my own masterminds. She obviously had a bigger network than me. And I was like, here's what we can do. Here's the profit margin. Here's the growth and the industry that we would go in. And she's like, cool. Do you want to jump on a call? And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Yeah. Jumped on a call with a double ear infection and strep. I had never been this sick in my life. And I was like, I have to jump on the call. And jumped on the call, essentially sold her on the idea. She was like, okay, Ally Web really wants to do it too, which I was like, this is crazy. And within a month and a half, I flew out to LA. We did our photo shoot. We launched it. I built the website. We enrolled 50 entrepreneurs. We got speakers. We had Goldman as a sponsor. I mean, it was just like go time. And wow. So, yeah, it was amazing.
Talk about taking bold move. Like, it got me. I wrote down the word bold and circled it because I think of any time in my life, but especially as an entrepreneur, that I actually got ahead was when I just asked for the thing or did the thing without really paying attention to what the worst case scenario could be. But also just like the asking. I remember my first big notable guest on the show was Gabrielle Reese. Mm-hmm. So Gabby Reese, we know her from like her pro beach volleyball days. And I used to have posters of her on my bedroom wall. And she was someone I admired. And then I would follow her on Instagram, engage. And finally one day I was like, I'd love to have you on my show. And I was like sweating, asking. She goes, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Reach out to so-and-so and let's book it. And I'm like, wait, this is how it happens. You just ask and they'll show up. And yeah, we chatted and it's like, we're buddies. Like we always look at the worst case scenario. The worst case for you would have been she said no, or who are you, or I'm too busy, or punch you to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you did it. But also because you believed in it. And that was a conviction you had for creating this mastermind. And now here you are, the CEO of one of the top, at least in our world, the top female event space festivals that you can think of. It's like, the Coachella of festivals for women.
Yeah, no, totally. It's so interesting. I love that you said that. I think the biggest thing too is not all ideas are good ideas, right? And so not everything you pitch can work. And that's okay. You don't know until you pitch it, until you actually bring it to life, right? Like we could have created the blueprint and it was an idea in my head, right? That I was like, this is a problem. I need to solve for this problem. We bring it to life and then nobody buys. That's okay. That just meant that like I was wrong. And that's totally fine. But it's just like I wouldn't know that until you did it. And so I think for me, like if someone's listening and they're like, oh, I have this idea. I want to pitch it. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like if you're pitching it out to someone, if it's just you, like take action and do it. You can't plan a business just on a paper. Like you got to see it to come to life and you got to see how consumers respond to it. If you're pitching it to someone else, I think the goal is to understand what's in it for them, right? You know what's in it for you. You're probably going to make money. If you're partnering up with someone bigger, it's probably like a notable partnership that's amazing, right? You understand what's in it for the person that's buying, but what's in it for them, right? If it's money that they value, if it's the exposure, if it's just like a creative outlet that maybe they wouldn't do on their own, like just figuring out what's in it for them and then having a clear structure. Like I knew through and through that I was the best person to launch this mastermind and actually like implement it and build it. And they were the best women with the network that I wanted to tap into. And so how can we blend those two? And so I think that, like, if you're listening, just try to understand what's in it for both sides, and be very like confident. Even if, again, I want to preface, I was terrified when I was introducing myself. I'll never forget it. Jacqueline, Allie, and myself were standing to do our photo shoot video. Allie was like, "Hey, my name is Allie Webb, and I'm the founder of Dry Bar, New York best-selling author, whatever, exited Dry Bar for $255 million. Then it's, "Hey, my name is Jacqueline Johnson. I'm, best-selling author, angel investor with 20 profiles underneath my name, and have exited Create and Cultivate for $22 million." And then it was my turn to introduce myself. I mean, I didn't even know what imposter syndrome was until that moment. And then I was like, oh, I am so uncomfortable. And I remember saying out loud, wow, this is very uncomfortable going after you guys. Like, it was just a fact. Like, I was just like, this is crazy that I would be going after you guys. And so, like, it's okay. Like, don't think that you have to be like so sure of yourself. You just do it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you just do it anyway.
So I want to know this, like, full body conviction of you feeling like you're the one to do this. Like, how did you know? What was the certainty in that thought?
I mean, one, it's this like, I have this core belief based off of proof that no one will outwork me. Like, that's just how I am. I grew up with, immigrant parents. I saw them build their life literally from scratch, right? And so I am okay taking the hard route and working really, really hard and sacrificing my time, sacrificing my sleep, and not having work-life balance. And like, I'm okay with that. So I think that was the biggest thing. So one, like, I will always figure out whatever it is that I have to do. And then two, I had done it on a smaller scale. My masterminds were so profitable and they sold out every single time, but at a smaller scale, right? And so if I felt like I had tapped my potential and my network, it was time to get into a different network, a different community of people that simply just don't know me. It's not because my mastermind wasn't good enough. They just didn't know my mastermind existed. And so those were like two enough. Like, I had proof that I could do it, and I knew that I would be able to do the work. And so that was enough for me to pitch.
And then what do you think for Allie and Jacqueline coming in? What do you think their heck yes was in you being that person?
Yeah, I think that I'm actually curious, and I would love to ask them this. My assumption is they could tell, one, I was crazy. Like, I will do anything to make something work. They could tell my work ethic immediately. Like, I'm very, like, I'm organized. I have structure. I have a plan. And I execute things. So they saw that right away. I was very, like, I presented financials. I presented the go-to-marketing plan. Like, I presented everything, right? And so there was no reason for them to say no. And so I would say, like, yeah, I think my work ethic and also like how organized I'm also, like, not to bring age into this, but like younger than them. I know that was always
more energy.
Yeah, no, like, it was always a thing for them. Like, they've done all the big things. And so anything else that they do needs to fuel them from a creative perspective and feel like it's on brand and like purpose. And so for me, I'm hungry, like, burn me out. I want to do all the things. I want to try out, And so I think that definitely was the reason why, we ended up making it work.
I love this. So, okay. Did you ever think you're going to ask them and they might say no? Did that ever cross your mind?
Well, so my plan was just to ask Jacqueline, but Allie came out of nowhere. And so I was like, Allie just made it so much bigger. And I was like, oh God, like, this is insane. No, I didn't think that she was going to say no. I didn't think about it. Like, I just did it. I think I was just shocked when she said yes. like I remember taking a screenshot and sending it to my girlfriends and being like, I used to always call her Jacqueline Johnson. Like Jacqueline Johnson responded, like, and they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so now knowing Jacqueline and knowing like what she's built and who she is, and she's one of my best friends now. It's like she's so much better than I anticipated, right? And so it's so cool to be able to meet someone that you admired what they've built, and their professional career, and be like, oh, thank God you're not terrible. Like, like that was like, I think that definitely are the biggest thought that came to my mind of like, I hope Allie doesn't suck and I hope Jacqueline doesn't suck, like truly, because there's nothing worse than admiring someone and then meeting them and be like, oh, you're a mean person. You're a terrible person. Like, yeah, I would have gotten the heck out of there pretty fast if that was the case.
My husband and I have this filter too. So Dan wrote the book, Buy Back Your Time. His acceleration in the last 2 years has been really fascinating watching, just in terms of influence and exposure. And we've really quickly developed our radar and filter for people who are just inauthentic. And it's like, you can really, really feel it in person. And while our time in Austin here has been great, there's been incredible people that have come in and we've had coffees with and meetings. And after, he'd be like, they're good people. I'm like, yeah, I felt that too. And it's like, it's rare, as in like good people is like, hey, here's the keys to my house and my visa. Can you do, and you would trust that they would not be malicious about anything. So good for you. And I know it's kind of like the dream to find people like this in our life, to be able to co-create and just build these incredible businesses. What do you think you did, the foundation in your career, even like personal development, that brought you to be this version of you to attract that opportunity?
Oh my God, these are such great questions. This is a phenomenal question. I don't know. It's funny because it's like, I said this, I don't know where we were driving. Maybe it was to like a game or something. And I said this to my husband. I said, if I was still at Yahoo, I don't think I would have ever reached my fullest potential. I didn't know what my fullest potential was. I feel like I reach my fullest capacity and potential every day. I give every single day everything I have. When, I wake up in the morning and getting Sebastian ready, who's my 9-year-old, and trying to work out and take care of myself and be a good wife and work, all day, always be available, right? Like no matter what, I'm available for my team, East Coast or West Coast, doesn't matter where you are, I will always answer, like I think I would have never reached that at Yahoo. And so when I left, I've always had this back against the wall mentality because that's how I grew up. Like every day was back against the wall. Like we had no option but to work really hard and try to make as much money as possible and try to make ends meet. And so I think like that was what built the foundation of how I operate. I actually made a video today that I need to edit and post, but it was this for a very long time. And I'm curious, like for anybody that's listening or even how you operate your business, for a very long time, especially this past year and a half, I've always felt really guilty for how intense I am. I'm a very intense CEO. Like I get on calls, I'm very direct. I have no problem negotiating. I have no problem walking away from a situation. Like I know the value that I have to offer. I'm relentless. I'm very gritty. Like that's how I am. And for the past year and a half, being a CEO and building a team, I felt very guilty for that because I felt like, oh, what does work-life balance mean? And what, how do I nurture everybody else? And how do I do this? And I like had to take a step back and I'm like, wait. My grittiness, my resilience, how hard I operate, how direct I am, how I communicate, how I am empathetic, right? I'm more than happy to cry on a call if it needs to. You know what I mean? Like I'm like very me. That is the foundation and the core of what got me here. Why would I want to change that? And why would I want to be anybody else? And so just to go back to like, that's how I've always been. And I think I didn't realize that until literally like earlier this morning that I was like, oh, why do I feel so bad about this. And I think the reason why is there's a new wave of entrepreneurs and business owners and creators and women of influence that are taking a different approach than what I do. And their different approach is much better work-life harmony, uh, resting and slowing down more, maybe not building as large of companies, or like their ambitions are enough to nurture them in their space, and that, and that is it. And it's so beautiful, but that's never going to be me. And I think that's what I struggled with, because I'm like, oh, am I not gentle enough? Am I not calm enough? Am I not, you know what I mean? Like, am I not caring enough? So I think, to like answer your first question, I know that's a very long-winded way of saying it's just like my foundation. And I think everyone needs to know what their foundation is.
Yeah. I'm hearing your grit, your resilience, your empathy, but also what's beautiful about it is it's who you are. And I think a lot of women step back from who they are.
Yeah.
So everything just feels so like hustle mode, but it feels inauthentic and it just feels kind of icky, but they feel the pressure to be that version of themselves in order to perform. And that just gets exhausting. And you just happen to be perfect alignment of all these energies of who you are that attracted these people. So they were going to come into your life anyway. And you just happen to be, okay, this is what I want to make of this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think we really need to focus more on being who we are. And if you want to reach the level of success that you've reached, it's really about putting in the time, putting in the effort, asking for help, asking the questions, but also know you're going to get a no.
Oh my God. 100%. I was just going to say, just a no. Like, I think sometimes, and I'm curious what you think, but like, I think sometimes people think that we don't get no's. I get no's every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. Whether it's a sponsor, it's a speaker, it's whatever. I get no's all day long. It's just like, we got to keep it moving.
Okay, let's talk about that, because no's are the hardest thing. My event, a third the size of or a quarter the size of the one that you guys are producing, it's like at that point where like all the worst case scenario things that I like ruminated about, like some of the little things are happening, like people needing refunds because of whatever. And it's like, dang, it's inevitable. And if this would have happened to me 5 years ago, I would have lost my shit and I would have been in such a dark cloud for the rest of the day. But this time I'm like, nope, don't take it personally. That was the biggest thing. It's not me, it's them. It has nothing to do with me. Or a speaker that has to leave early, even though they promised to stay for a thing. It's not me, it's them. And the moment you can reframe the no to it not being about you, it actually changes everything. Mm-hmm. And then the right people come in, the right business partners come in, the right sponsors come in, then the right people that want to buy the tickets to be there, they end up taking that space.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think people realize how hard it is to put an event together. A 10-person event, a 100-person event, a 400-person event, a 2,000-person event, it takes the same exact energy, to be honest. We do retreats that are 50 to 75 people, and then we do our festival that's 2,000 people. I promise you, it is the same energy. Like, the same work that goes into like securing sponsors and securing people and food and permits and speakers, programming, the timing and audio. Every detail of it. I don't think people realize it. And it's not for them, right? We do all of this work. It's not for them to realize it. Like, we do all of this work to ensure that they have the most amazing experience. And so I think handling the no's that come in, I love that you said it's not about you. Like, it's like, it has nothing to do with us. It's just like, okay, that's that. I think for me too, and one thing I want to flag is, and I used to say this to my clients all the time, like, contracts are your best friend. Like, you got to have agreements for literally everything. Policies, like we have, you name it, we're like covered. Yeah. And so I think that that's really important, because it takes also the personal out of it. Like, if you agreed to be a speaker and you signed a contract and you have this, there are repercussions for not participating in this, whether it is paying for your travel or you have, like, we have it, if a speaker pulls out, they have to secure a different speaker for us, to take their place, within a week's time. So it's like, you got to have these contracts. Now, during the negotiation phase, if people are like, no, we can't do this or da, 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 it might not work out. And that's okay. But you have to always be protected from a business perspective. And so that way it never gets personal,
Yeah.
And I think that to me is how I handle the no's. If it's just like, no, we're not, it's a budget. I'm also like, I don't know about you, but I'm constantly like, why? So if a sponsor is like, no, not right now, I'm like, why? Is it money? Because I'm happy to negotiate. Is it time? Well, what's a better time? We have other events. Like, I'm just like, why? I need to understand why.
Yeah.
If it's not the right audience, great. What's the right audience? What are your goals? And so I'm always curious. I lead with curiosity, and I'm always asking questions.
Oh, I love that because it's kind of like, oh, what do you mean? What I need to build that muscle, the why muscle. Because it's good to know, because you want to know if it's just never going to be a good fit. So then next year you don't have to approach them.
100%. Or it's like, or next year you can go and say, hey, last year you wanted to do X, Y, and Z. We didn't have that. We have it this year. Can we jump on a 5-minute call? Like I got no from a brand one time that we took out, we talked to them for so long and they eventually said no. And I was like, I need 5 minutes. Like, I need to understand why. And then they were like, no, like, I'm sorry, no. And they ended up buying tickets to the festival. So they're going to go and best believe that I will make sure that they sponsor next time, because there's no reason why they shouldn't. Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Oh my gosh. I'm in that space. I find sometimes those conversations so intimidating, but then I'm like, but wait, you need to be there.
Yeah.
It's
it
like,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'm doing you a favor, although you're paying me, but yes, I get it.
Yeah.
Contracts are huge. I actually just went through, so we have an event manager for this, she's incredible. Absolutely love her. She is just crushing it. And then she does like the deposit and then the second payment or the final payment. But most people hire someone like that way in advance. And our event is in less than a month. So it's like June 12th. So in a month, essentially. And she started 2-3 weeks ago. We've already done most of the work. So she was just following her protocol of how she invoices. And I think it's automatic. And the second and final payment invoice came in. And I was like, wait a second, the event hasn't even happened. But I looked at the contract. I'm like, oversight of mine, didn't see the date. So she's following. And I just said, hey, listen, I see in the contract, oversight of mine. Do you mind if we just push this out 2 weeks? It's in line with industry standards. And she goes, yeah, no problem. Yep. So she updated the end. It's like, it's negotiable. You just have to ask. And I thought worst case scenario, she's going to take offense to this and all this stuff. Not at all. She's like, yep, not a problem. Boom, it's done.
Yeah.
Because you just have to ask. Tough conversations.
Tough conversations are literally the key to just moving forward. And I don't think every conversation that has two sides in the sense of two opinions is bad. Like that, it's okay. It's okay that, you come back. Maybe if she said no, I can do 1 week. It's like, okay, cool. Let's meet in the middle. There's so many different ways that you can go about it. But yeah, I love that. Tough conversations are very important. I thrive on tough conversations.
I'm learning that from you. Yeah. She could have come back and said no, and then I would have been fine. It really, it doesn't change anything. It was just out of principle. And I also wanted test my ability to be able to have these tough conversations. There was another guy who came in as a food sponsor, and I just didn't feel like it was the right fit and the right alignment for us. And they didn't do anything wrong. And then there's another food sponsor that we wanted to have that ended up coming in saying yes.
Amazing.
And so we were crafting this email to send to the other guy to say, hey, no, we no longer need you. I was like, this is a phone call. This is not an email. Picked up the phone, thinking worst case scenario, something could happen. He's going to be mean or malicious. And he goes, oh, no problem. I'm glad you found someone in alignment. And then we chatted about business and hung up, and that was that. But some of us sit in these, or we sleep on it, or we think about it all weekend, and we get so nervous when we pick up the phone on the Monday to make that call. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And you ruined your weekend thinking of worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So we need to be more cautious about how we think about these things too. Mm-hmm. Do you guys still do any of those masterminds?
Yeah. So we bought the Blueprint Mastermind. So once we bought Create and Cultivate, we bought the assets of the Blueprint Mastermind. So we do the mastermind every year. We do 2 a year. They're 6 months. We have retreat formats. So the key formats for Create and Cultivate is the mastermind for Blueprint, different retreats. We do a dinner called Supper Club. our summit, which we do every year. It's like our big free event that we do in Austin in March, every March. And then we do our festival. So we have 5 different formats.
And so it's purely events then.
Yeah. We only do events. We have a massive media leg. So like our newsletter, 700,000 subscribers, and it's growing. Our Instagram, I think in total we have a little under 2 million women in our network, which is...
That's amazing. That's like half the size of Canada. I know, just joking. We're a little bit bigger than that. Some days it feels like that though.
Yeah, no, 100%. And they're amazing. They're from all over, different industries, different job titles and levels. And it's really cool. And it's growing and in such a beautiful way. I love it.
I love it. Yeah. I would totally go to the festival. Can't, but really interested in the other stuff. And then you have the podcast. Now I was going to ask you another question on all this and I forget. Okay. Let's do a quick double click on motherhood.
Yeah.
Can we touch on this? Because you have one baby?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said it was a he and he's 9?
Yeah. Sebastian, he's 9. Yeah.
Oh, I love that name. Okay. So you jumped on board with Create and Cultivate a year and a half ago. How do you, we both agreed we hate the word balance. How do you make it work?
Yeah. It's funny. I was putting his bag away yesterday and my team had asked me to make a like day in the life of just like recording everything that I do. And they've asked me for months now and I haven't been able to. And so yesterday I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So, I recorded myself. My husband coincidentally is also traveling right now. And so, I recorded myself like waking up, working out, getting his bag ready, getting him out of school, the door, like getting his breakfast, out of school, dropping him off, going home, being on calls literally until 2:30, leaving my house, going to pick him up, bring him back on calls, yelling at him to go get ready for soccer, bringing him to soccer, leaving soccer, going to get new sneakers, heading home, making dinner, getting him into a shower, pray before bed, and then it was my turn. And I ended the day and I was recording myself doing his bag. And I literally stopped and I was like, oh my God, I did all the things today. Like I was just in so much flow. I just did it all, and there are so many days that I do not do it all. Like I am like, I can't do pickup. Can you do pickup? I can't. Okay. I don't do drop off. Matt does drop off. My mom has to help if she's available or, oh crap, I have to travel that day. And so I was just so grateful for a full 24 hours that I felt so proud of myself. I was like, oh my God, I did it. Like I did that, And so I to answer your question I definitely don't do it all every day. And there's a lot of days that I sacrifice things. Like if I am traveling for Create and Cultivate, I'm probably missing basketball and soccer and school pickup and drop off and the stories. But when I'm here, I'm very present. Like I could have easily brought my computer to soccer and there's so many times that I do. But yesterday I was just like, nope, it's a beautiful day out. I've given everything that I can to Create and Cultivate right now. I'll come back and log back on later. And so I think it's just this like give and pull that you decide to like take, but it's decisions like every single time and every single day. And yeah.
So you have to become good at saying no to things too, because there's probably a lot of demands of your time from team partners, people wanting your time like me. How do you filter the things that are, as we call it, fuck yeah, or just a hell no? Like what is your guidelines for that?
Yeah. So right now, like my sole focus is the festival. From a work perspective, like we got to blow this thing out of the water. Building a festival is very, very hard. Getting 2,000 people in is obviously very, very hard. We're VC backed. So it's so many, we have just investors that are like everything is looked at. And so the pressure is just different. And so for me, hell yeses and hell nos are much easier because I have a lot to lose if I say yes to something and then I have to like switch or I don't have the capacity for it. So I say no more often than not. Like I flew out to just speak. It was just like a paid speaking gig. And while I was there, I was like, oh my God, I'm drowning. Like I can't even show up as my best self. And so I'm like, I have to say no moving forward. Like I can't do it. And so I think it's just energy is the most important thing for me. It's how like my energy is everything. And so I know pretty quickly if it's a yes or a no. And then the other thing I was going to say, just touching back on mothers and motherhood, I know Sebastian's schedule ahead of time. So I block, and my company has a block for my calendar, 2:30 to 3, or 2:30 to 3:30, no calls every day. I pick up Sebastian. It's like a non-negotiable. Same thing in the morning, but nobody's having calls with me at 7 a.m., but I'm getting him ready and drop him off. Then every day for this season, I have soccer at 5:30. And so I can potentially dial into a call, but if you need me to be like this,
Yeah.
it needs to fit within my working hours, And so I think it's just having boundaries and sticking to it.
I love that. I just interviewed Jillian Harris, and she kind of gave us the lay of the land of how her work week operates. And I'm like, that sounds so simple. She also is completely done work at like 3 o'clock. She's like, I'm home with my kids. I don't, unless Oprah's knocking at the door, but I'll invite her in for a cup of coffee. But we have to stick to that. But also, when you're in the early seasons, sometimes you just can't. You can't negotiate because you need to build the thing. Most times we do have the capacity to focus on focused work because we end up saying yes to the things we know aren't going to move the needle.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that filter is really important.
Totally. And for me, again, it's like, if it means I have to log back on at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock and work until 1 because I got to enjoy, 3 hours with my son after school, it's like, I'm more than happy to do that. That's not, that's not a thing. But I love that you said that. I want to preface that a lot of the things that I experience now is such a privilege. Like, what a privilege it is that I get to like stop my day and go pick up my son and go spend time with him or go on vacation or go travel and have an event. Like, I'm a very privileged person, but I say that because I've also been on the other side where I'm like, ooh, I don't have those privileges. And so, yeah.
Well, the cool thing is that opportunity, the lifestyle you've created, is available for everybody.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of deciding that you deserve it too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your festival quickly. Dates, what to expect, where people can go to buy tickets.
Yeah, we are so excited for this. Again, I mean, we do a lot of events, but the festival is the world's largest festival for women in business. There is nothing, it's not like a marketing tagline. It's like, there's nothing like this that exists at this scale. It's 2 days, 2,000 attendees, over 200 speakers, hundreds of sponsors on site. So you'll have activations and different food trucks and food and drinks and pop-up shops and massage stations. And you'll also have access to so many different tools that will help you grow your career, whether it's, recruitment and talent connection or, finding an investor. We'll have an investor mixer so you can, fund your business. Different resources like QuickBooks and Intuit and Chase Inc. I mean, you name it, it's there. Our whole festival is focused on growing women's career. Different speakers. We have a concert by Dochi. And so it's all happening July 19th and 20th in LA. And you can buy tickets at createcultivate.com.
Love it. Oh my gosh, it sounds like the dream. That's a lot of speakers over 2 days.
It's a lot. So we have different formats. It's keynotes and panels and workshops. We have something called our industry experts. And so it's our Connect program that we created. And so now not only do you get to hear speakers on stage, but you actually are able to meet with them one-on-one. And so we have our industry experts. So you can meet with, let's say you want to create a clothing line and you're like, ooh, like, where do I go? We have like a manufacturing expert that will help you through like those steps. And so you can set up one-on-one meetings. They're 15-minute meetings. They're like speed dating. And so they're very intentional. But yeah, it's only at festival.
So they can connect at the festival with these speakers.
Pre-scheduled meetings. So it's so Connect is our data-driven AI-powered matchmaking program. And so once you create your profile, you say these are the categories and interests I'm into, and then here's the intent. I want to be a mentor or find a mentor. I want to find a job, or I'm hiring for this role. I am an investor, or I'm looking for investment, or simply I want to network about this topic. And so you pick your categories, you do all the things, and then our algorithm will connect you and match you with the right people. And then based on your availability, which we block out for the festival, you'll have, like, let's say from 12 to 1:15, you'll have 4 meeting slots that you can fill. And
Oh,
so you
cool.
can connect with up to 16 people at the festival.
Oh, that's so powerful. I mean, one of the biggest things and the advantages to event, I mean, the table stakes are like great speakers, but it's really about who you're meeting and who
Oh my
you're
God.
networking with at the
Oh,
event.
100%. Nobody goes, like, honestly, being in the space and industry, nobody goes for the content. Like, they say, I'm going because this panel, like, no, you can Google it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going for the content. You're going for the connection. You're going for the
Mhm.
experience. You're going to be able to, like, meet someone. Like, that's what you're going for. The content, you can just Google how to do that, you know? And
Yeah.
so
Like
that's
ChatGPT.
literally
Yeah.
like you're nothing. And just like hearing the stories from people, that's what changes everything.
I love it. Some of my besties that I've ever met was because of at events.
Yeah.
It's like-minded people, and you will get that at the Create and Cultivate Festival. Is there a name for it?
Nope, just the world's largest festival for women in
Just
business.
the world's largest festival. You own that. I love it. I could keep chatting with you forever, but I do have one last question for you. When I ask you what it means to be a wild woman, what is that for you?
Mm. A wild woman, I think for me is having like no, just like grit, resilience. Like you're not, there's no such thing as no. Like you just figure it out. I think that's like what wild is to me.
I love it. I'm feeling wild. You're wild. I love it, Marina. It's been so great connecting. Go check out the festival, guys. Meet some incredible women. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Like such a great interviewer.